Welcome back to another tutorial on how to use Inkscape for your box project. What we're going to do now is we're going to begin to incorporate a few graphics into our project. I'm going to go over here to my downloads folder. Remember, there's a couple of different ways you can bring a graphic in. You can open up that folder and simply drag it over, or you can go to File and import that way. Either one will work just fine. I'm going to go ahead and just drag a few over. I'm going to drag a few. Maybe I will like one more than another one. There we go. Now we have had some incompatibilities with some of the fonts that they have used. So we're just going to go ahead and make use of the icon, the logo there, and not the font itself. So to get that in there, I'm going to just simply click. Sometimes you may need to click a few different times to get to what you're looking for, because there are different layers sometimes in an image. So I'm going to click on Improving Lives and just simply delete that. There we go. I'm going to delete that. There we go. Now I'm going to double check to see if this logo right here is ready for lasering. Oh, it is. Fantastic. What that also means is that I can change that to any size I want without there being any loss. I'm going to go ahead and delete these other logos and just use that one that I've prepped. So I'm going to take this logo here, and this is the front piece. So since it's the front piece, I know that this is going to be the top because it's flat. So that means I'm going to change this, and I'm going to orient it by flipping it. There we go. And I'm going to put this in the very center, but I'm going to make it a little bit bigger first. Remember our trick for adjusting the size without messing up the ratio. So I'm going to hit Control Z to undo my mess up there. I'm going to hold the Control button down as I pull. When I do that, I can make it a lot bigger and I'll still get the ratio that I'm looking for. Now I also want to do this. I want to center that on this piece. So how do I center it? Let's say it's really far off to the side. How do I center it down if it's really far off to the side? And there's an easy trick to do that, and it does involve your alignment tools. So what I'll do is I'll select this entire piece here. Then I will hold Shift to select this. Oops. It's still part of this bigger piece. So what we're going to do is this. Right now, this entire plan, as you can tell there, is all part of one piece. Now again, if you mess up like that, just hit Control Z to go back. So I need to break apart these individual elements. So watch, if I want to take just this one panel and do anything with it in relation to that, well, I can't, because if I click on that and try to move it or something, the whole thing is still stuck together, it's grouped together. So there's a couple of options here. If I click on this and go to Object and Group, if this was grouped together and I ungroup it, that's going to solve our problem. I bet that's not what happened in this particular case, but I'm not 100% sure what that website did with their shapes. If they're grouped together or if their paths are similar, I'll take a look. So I'm going to hit ungroup and let's see if that did it. Fantastic. So that did the job. So again, you go to, you select everything you want, you go to Object, you go to Ungroup. Now remember, group and ungroup sometimes is very useful. For example, this shape right here is still all grouped together. Go ahead and try to take that apart. I'm going to go to Object and Ungroup. For some reason, it was still all grouped together. So I'm going to scoot that out of the way. So I want to take this shape here, and I'm going to hold down Shift and select that second shape. Now I do have a couple of options here. Instead, I could have drawn a selection box, click holding and dragging with my left mouse around all of that, and it would have achieved the same result. So I go to Object, I go down to Align and Distribute, and this is a trick that you're going to be using a lot. It really helps to line things up. So look at my choices. I've got the Align section here. That's what I'm going to be using right now. Relative to page. Well, no, in this case, I want it to be relative to the last selected thing. Well, let me just double check. I'm going to select this, then this. Yeah, that'll work. So I'm going to go to last selected. That way I know that when I hit Align, what's going to move in relation to what other thing? The logo is going to move, and the outside box will stay put. If I chose instead to choose the logo last and the box first, and then I chose relative to last selected, well, then the logo would stay put and the box would. So you can play around with that to get the result that you want. I'm going to choose last selected. Now I'm going to do this one for center and the vertical, and this one for center and the horizontal. If you're not sure what these do, if you just hover over it, it'll kind of give you an idea along with the picture of what it does. So I'm going to center on the vertical axis. Did you see it move? Watch it move now on the horizontal axis. There we go. So this whole thing is now smack dab in the center of that box, exactly where I want it. Fantastic. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this logo here, and I want to put it on this back box here. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to flip it. But now if you'll notice, if I try to select this entire box, is this right here the center? I'm guessing over here is more the center. That's not what I'm looking for. So I'm going to use a little trick to do that. What I'm going to do first is just kind of scoot that out of the way. I'm going to make a little box. I'm going to make a little box here that's going to fit right inside here. If I'm not sure how wide it is, here's what I can do. I can click on this box, look up here at this information, and it'll tell me exactly how wide and high this whole box is. Now if I look on my box that I just made, it says 9.495. This box is 9.527, so that's pretty close, but 9.527. I'm going to go ahead and make my box 9.527. So you can just double click on that, enter it in there, and it didn't look like there was a huge change, but it might make a small difference. If I zoom in, I want to line those up a little bit. I can use my arrow keys and scoot it down, but if I want to do it little by little, I'm going to zoom in even more. I hold down the Alt key, and then I move it. That way I can move it a tiny amount every time. I'll look down here at the bottom and just see how that looks. Well, that looks a little too big too, so I'm going to just scoot it up. Alright, now what I do is this. I'm going to select that box that I just made, and I'm going to center this logo relative to this box. That way I know it'll be centered on that panel, and I don't have to select this much larger box out here. So I'm going to select this, and select this, holding down the Shift key. Now I've selected both of those objects. I'm going to go to Object, I'm going to go to Align and Distribute, and now if you'll remember, which one did I click first? Did I click this one or this one first? If I don't remember, I can just do it again real quick. Because notice it says relative to, last selected, first selected. I can just do biggest object. Let's just do that. Relative to biggest object, because this is much bigger than that. So I'm going to click on that, hold Shift, click on this, relative to biggest object, watch what happens, boom. Boom, there we go. That's exactly where I want it to be. Fantastic. Now, what do I do with that box? Well, if I left it there, it's going to burn that whole thing and mess up this entire box. So I'm going to go in there and hit delete it, because remember, I don't need it anymore. I just needed it to line up this accredited symbol. So that's just a couple of ways to use your object, align and distribute in relation to moving things around in your box. Thanks for watching.